When I was in middle school, there was this Jewish guy. His name was Andrew. I'm not going to say his last name, but I'll say his first name was Andrew. And Andrew was a very dysfunctional young man. He was Jewish, a California Jew, and he was in our classroom, and he had serious psychological problems. I would say that he was demonically possessed, but according to the state of California, he had psychological problems. And he was suicidal, very self-destructive. He had immense suicidal ideation, and he hated Jews. I kid you not. I don't exaggerate when I say this, but Andrew hated Jews. He hated them. Oh, he hated them. And he would tell us about how he loved Adolf Hitler. And he said that his only problem with Hitler was that Hitler never finished the job. This was not coming from an Arab student. This was not coming from an immigrant student from Afghanistan. As much as people like Robert Spencer would love to hear about this guy being an Arab, he was not an Arab. He was an American Jew, and he hated Jews. Hated them. Oh, he hated them. And he would tell us about how he wanted his mother to die. He hated his mother. And this was my introduction to the phenomena of Jewish men hating their mothers. It is a very real phenomenon. It is not just a joke. And the reason why numerous Jewish comedians have used the Jewish mother tension with son trope is because it is based on reality. Jokes are based on reality. What makes a joke funny is how much it's based on reality. We've all heard the saying, it's funny because it's true, right? So this guy, he would tell us about how much he hated his mother, and he wanted to kill his mom. Yes, that was very disturbing to hear. And at that time, how old was I? I was about 13 years old, 12 or 13 years old. And he would say things like, if only Hitler had killed all the Jews, then I wouldn't be here. So his self-hatred was reflected in his love for Adolf Hitler and his desire to see the Jewish people get annihilated. So he wanted to see Jews die because he hated himself. Truly, truly, this was projection. This was projection in real time. It wasn't just a trope that you see. It's not just a trope that you hear on the internet. Oh, he's projecting, and people like to use that word and throw it around a lot, but projection is very real. Projection is not something that is fake. Now, some people like to use it for manipulative purposes. They'll say, oh, he's just projecting. When somebody says something that you don't like, you say, oh, he's just projecting. But it is real, and people really do project. People really do, they really do project themselves in their statements. And when they say things against other people, they're really talking about themselves. This is a real phenomenon. It's not fake. It's not fake, guys. But yes, he did have a very Jewish dialect. He had that American Jewish inflection. And he would say things like, if only Hitler would have just... And he had the eyes like that, and his nose was like that. He looked like a younger version of Horowitz. Not Horowitz. Who's the guy who's a lawyer? Oh, goodness. What? Dershowitz. He looked like Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz. He was a younger version of Alan Dershowitz. And he had the nose like Dershowitz, and the eyes like Dershowitz, and the mouth and the teeth, and it was all just there on this guy's face, just a younger version, a younger Dershowitz. And he would say, "If only Hitler had finished the job, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be here right now." And he was very tense when he talked, and there was something very terrifying about it. It was, you were really in the presence of evil when you were in the same classroom with this guy. Truly, you were in the presence of evil, the presence of the diabolical. And he would say, "I hate my mom. I wish she dies. I hate my mom." It was just so creepy. Very, very creepy stuff. So one day we're in class, and Andrew, out of nowhere, raises his hand. And he says, "Teacher?" "Yes, Andrew?" Can I go to the middle of the street?" "Why would you want to do that, Andrew?" "So I can get hit by a car." "Why would you want to be hit by a car, Andrew?" "Because I want to die." "Why would you want to do that, Andrew?" "Because I'm Jewish." And I just want to die. It was demonic. Straight up, the demons, man. They're demons. They want you to kill yourself and to annihilate your whole race. And it just reminds me of that verse from Paul, where Paul says that the Messiah will not come until the Jews cry out for a Messiah. So it's really, the devil wants to kill all the Jews so that prophecy will not be fulfilled. It's really a chess match. It's a battle between God and Satan, and you see it in certain individual lives. You'll see the demonic war. And this guy wanted to exterminate all the Jews, including himself. Oh, I've met a lot of weirdos in my life. I have met a lot of them. I've met plenty of them. And the crazy thing is, my friends and I, we just had a big ball over it. We used to think it was hilarious when this guy would talk like that. And I remember when he said, "Teacher," I remember looking at my friend next to me and I said, "Here we go." I said that, "Here we go." And I remember being in class one day, and because we never thought that he would actually try to kill himself. We never thought that he would actually do that. Never. We thought he was just full of crap. We thought he was crazy. We thought this guy's crazy. And I remember being in class one day and turning around, and I saw Andrew on. He used to sit all the way in the back, which was another red flag. And I remember him sitting on his chair behind his desk, and he had both of his hands. I never forget it. He had both of his hands like this on his throat, and he was squeezing his neck as hard as he could, and his face was turning bluish, purplish. I remember it. And I said, and I remember I had never seen anything like that in my life, and till this day I've never seen anything like it. That was the only time. That was the only time in my life that I saw someone try to commit suicide in front of me. And I remember just freaking out and having this immediate reaction to what I was seeing. And I screamed as loud as I could. I said, "Oh my God, he's trying to kill himself." And there were two teachers in the room, I remember, and they ran to him. And they were trying to pry his hands, his fingers, off of his throat. And I remember he was screaming as loud as he could, "I want to kill myself. I want to die. I want to die." And it was like that. It was like a scene from The Exorcist. It was so disturbing, guys. And that was something that I will never forget. I'll never forget what I saw there. It was very traumatizing for me. But I said, "Oh my God, what's going on here? What's going on here? It's demonic. It's just satanic. It really is satanic. The devil wants you to kill yourself and to annihilate people. And the devil truly wants to kill as many people as possible. Satan." People say, well, Satan just wants to take your soul. That's true, he does, but he wants you to kill yourself. He hates the human body. He hates the human soul. He also hates the human body. He hates the human body, which is why he will get people, influence people to destroy themselves, to destroy others, to mutilate their own bodies, to make people think that they are a gender that they are not. To make people think that they are not the gender that they were born as, and to get them to corrupt God's creation. God created us. We are made in God's image, and so the devil has a jihad. The devil has an unholy war against the human body and against God's creation. And so that's why you see stories like that. That's why you see things like that. Many years later, literally last year, I looked up this guy's name because I was wondering what happened to him, and I found a story. It was a local news story, and the local news story was saying that there was a guy in the area that around the area that I lived in, that there was a guy, same name as this guy, who got into a car accident. And the article said that this guy was driving down the road and that he suddenly went to the wrong lane and got into a head-on collision with another vehicle. And both drivers almost died. And the article said, authorities have concluded that no drugs were used. And I'm reading this story and I'm thinking, this is the name of the guy who crashed into the other guy's car and almost killed them and almost killed himself is the same name as the student that I knew, the Jewish student who wanted to kill himself and who loved Adolf Hitler. And I looked at his age, and his age was the age of somebody who would have been in the grade that I was in. So the age corresponded. I'm thinking, this is the guy. And the article said, well, no drugs were used. I'm thinking, well, of course there were no drugs. This guy doesn't need drugs. He's demonically possessed. And that was not an accident. I read the article, and I concluded, I was shaking my head the whole time as I was reading, and I said, this is not an accident. This was a attempted murder-suicide. Now, thankfully, the other person did not die, but this was an attempted murder-suicide. And they just said, oh, it was an accident. And this was not an accident. But he probably fooled the authorities and said, oh, it was an accident. When it wasn't. This was a murder-suicide attempted by this Jewish man who loves Adolf Hitler. And yeah, that's it.